and welcome to this special Christmas episode of Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 1 of Ore Monogatari. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So I thought I'd watch another sort of romance-themed anime for this time of year, and I heard that this one was quite good. You know, it's sort of been on my list for a while. I remember when it came out, but I never really got around to watching it. And I think it's kind of silly on my part to have not watched it. That said, I think they're being pretty on the nose here with the symbolism. Surely this couldn't have anything to do with the main character, who, from what I recall, has a rather considerable stature. Now, I think the really interesting thing about this anime, from what I recall, is that this was animated by Studio Madhouse, and I appreciate them much more for things like One Punch Man and Black Lagoon. This seems like it would be outside of their remit, so I guess that was something that I found interesting. That was my first time hearing the opening music, and I rather liked that, I think it's the instrumentation and the vocals, they're kind of, maybe understated isn't the right word, but, the vocals, I thought they were very nice. So if I'm not mistaken, this is what is essentially a middle school graduation, and just to, I guess, really highlight what I assume is going to be the key conflict, Takeo here is a veritable giant. Because, middle schoolers, that's when you start to grow, but, he's already grown. He's gotta be, 6 foot tall and then some, I'd imagine. I mean, from what little I understood about this, I was under the impression that he was sort of an outcast, but it seems like, if nothing else, he kind of has friends. Presumably they like him because he's a good member of the club. Alright, so here we go. Yeah, I think I know where this is going. It's rather unfortunate. He just wants to take one final opportunity to tell a girl how he feels, but, unfortunately it seems like he's sort of doomed to fail. Not only does the girl have eyes for somebody else, but that guy doesn't really care too much about her. So, Okay, so they know each other. Yeah, that's gotta put a damper on their friendship, I'd imagine. Yeah, I'm glad they're sort of addressing the elephant in the room. Why would these two very different people be friends? And, it's not like there's a real reason. But that's also kind of how it is in real life, Sometimes you just make friends over really stupid stuff when you're young, and it just sort of sticks. But unfortunately, it seems like the dynamic here is that all the girls like Makoto, and they ignore Takeo. And I guess, if that weren't bad enough, there seems to be this pattern of girls Takeo likes liking Makoto, and, things invariably not working out. Man, this guy, he really doesn't seem to want to date anybody. See, I would feel like just by the laws of probability, he would want to at least date one of the girls that confess to him. So that's kind of interesting. They weren't initially friends. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, Kids don't always get along right away, but I guess by virtue of spending a lot of time together, they kind of became friends. Or at least that's what it seems like. Okay, that feels a bit like foreshadowing, something about, like, somebody prowling around and being creepy. I mean, seeing as how they keep walking back and forth in front of the school, it, oh dear indeed. Yeah, that's gonna give a bad impression, I think, because surely he's trying to scare off any wrongdoers, but, he looks like a wrongdoer himself. That's unfortunate, because, his heart's in the right place, It's just kind of unfortunate that he has the same shape and stature as Frankenstein's monster. Yeah, so I think I'm getting a grasp on what precisely the deal is here. He's well-meaning, Takeo, but he either doesn't quite know his own strength or he's not cognizant of his appearance, and in trying to do the right thing, he causes more trouble. Kind of unfortunate. I mean, in an instance like this, he could probably have said something like, please, sir, sit here, because, the old guy looked pretty infirm and in all likelihood, blind or visually impaired. I think I know where this is going. Takeo's gonna do the right thing, but, I mean, it only makes sense that he would be kind of excessive in dealing with this guy, but I feel like, maybe some indolent law enforcement officer will not exactly understand what's going on. Ooh boy. Takeo doesn't stand a chance now. I mean, looking at him with those doe eyes and thanking him and all that, like, there's no coming back from something like that. Alright, so, he's only just sort of, like, restraining the guy. He's not, like, throttling him or... Well, I take that back, maybe he is, but he's not, like, twisting his arm off or anything. Oh, is this the same guy that, told him off for sending him from the school? I mean, I guess it makes sense that this guy would be trying to, get out of any trouble. I mean, I guess fortunately for Takio, there are quite a few people who can back up his story. Wow, that guy really is scummy if he's just sort of dropping the act. Oh dear. I feel like he had sort of dug himself his own grave. But, I feel like Takio slugging him right in front of the cops is probably only going to make things worse. To be fair, the guy certainly deserved it, but, Takio probably could have stood to, not lose his temper and be a bit more tactful about it. Yeah, I have to say, if this sort of thing had happened to me, I would probably be in a pretty foul, depressive mood as well. Especially when you've done nothing wrong like Takio did. I mean, sure, that was a mammoth punch to the face, but, like, that guy got off kinda light. Wow. Takio really does take after his mom. It's kind of unfortunate. Oh dear. Yeah, Takio's in a bit of an unfortunate position, if there's a girl coming over and his room looks like this, that's something alright. And I guess, it only makes sense that the girl would be grateful, and if nothing else, she'd want to thank him in person. I'd imagine there wasn't much opportunity at the police station. So I guess the question here is, how does Makoto ruin things? Not that he would do so deliberately, but, man, that's unfortunate. You know what? I like this girl. She's sort of, I don't know if you'd call it an archetype, but sort of, kind of ditzy and airheaded, but earnest. And I think that's a really compelling combination. Man, I guess it makes sense that being as gigantic a guy as he is, he put away that whole thing, but wow. Man, I do feel bad for Takio. I hope things turn up in the near term, just because, like, I don't want to say it's depressing, but it's, it sure seems like life is just kicking him while he's down. I mean, yeah, he was thanked with food and all that, which is, that's a nice thing, especially if she baked it herself, but... Ooh, the plot thickens. Alright, yeah, so it seems like she is kinda ditzy if she was to just sort of leave her phone behind. Alright, so I'm thinking this is how the plot moves forward. You know, they have a second meeting where he returns her phone. But, you know, that doesn't necessarily spark a relationship or anything. There's gotta be, like, something else here, and this is merely what facilitates it. I mean, like Takeo says, you know, this isn't the end of the story. Alright, so I'm wondering if Takeo's got a sort of self-defeating streak by inviting Makoto along, you know. If he's going to continually invite the comparison between the two of them, like, it's not going to work in his favor, I don't think. But I think, you know, he's sort of, I guess, trying not to exclude his friend, especially when he was involved. Not sure to get his line of thinking. Alright, so she brought more food as a thank you, and it looks like macaroons or something. So as I understand it, macaroons are like a rather nice type of French cookie. Alright, so that's nice. She actually made both of them herself. And I'm given to understand that neither of those two things are necessarily easy to bake. So it seems like, if only because she's such a good baker, that she's certainly an ideal match for Takeo. Yeah, you know, I don't think Takeo's actually helping the situation here. I feel like maybe he should just come out and say whatever he's thinking, instead of staring and standing like that. Man, the poor guy, he probably just doesn't know what to say. You know, I can certainly relate to this guy not having all the social skills he would want. But I feel like he's also sort of selling himself short here. You know, just because you don't know exactly what to do doesn't mean that there's no point in trying, you know. If you don't try, you'll never succeed, and if nothing else, Yamato wants to help him, you know. Alright, so there you go, you know. Tie it to something, you know, he can relate to. Like, could you bake me another cake? Because, you know, if nothing else, she seems to enjoy baking, and, you know, he'll certainly eat whatever it is she bakes, so, you know, if only because of that, that gives them a reason to hang out. So I think that really speaks to Yamato's character, that she doesn't use an electric mixer, supposedly. You know, I understand enough about baking that there's a lot of manual effort that goes into it. So the fact that she does everything by hand, I think that speaks to a diligence or a perseverance, you know. I mean, speaking of diligence and perseverance, she seemed to have, chased them some considerable distance for some reason. Clearly it's important to her. Alright, there we go. It's sort of that earnestness mixed with the ditziness again. She left without getting a way to contact him, so, she's serious about actually baking for him, but, she hadn't worked out all the details. Alright, you know what? It's not perfect, but I think Takeo's stuck the landing there. It's kind of nice to see how happy she is just from receiving his email address so that they can communicate. It's no big thing, but she treats it as important. You know what? That's a nice positive ending, even if Takeo's still sort of doubting himself. I mean, I guess he's sort of resigned to helping Yamato and Makoto get together, but I don't know, man. I don't think that's how things are going to work out. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. Merry Christmas, Space Cowboy.